Monferno is in a very deep sleep, but he doesn't know what happened in the last few hours. But luckily, once Monferno has finally awakened up, he was afraid to wake up in the forest, but luckily he's in a very familiar room towards his trainer's household's brother, and noticing that Reggie has been waiting for Monferno at his side for quite a while, and is finally relieved that it's okay, replied Reggie. But Monferno seems to be in a bit of a panic and is not sure what happened in the last few hours ago. But luckily, Monferno he's been handled by a very experienced trainer thanks to Reggie, and he explains everything the previous battle. In the backflash, as Monferno is simply staring down the corridor, meaning Paul managed to win the gym battle. But unfortunately for everyone that is attended, Monferno doesn't stop the attack and keeps attacking Lucario, and it always whispers something in his head: win, win, keep winning. And Monferno is simply unleashing powerful attacks towards the already defeated Lucario. But Maylene tried her best to defend her Pokemon by using herself as a body shield from the Pokemon, but unfortunately Monferno seems to not care as it. Once Monferno unleashes a powerful flamethrower and manages to graze off Maylene's arm, meaning she is slightly injured from that attack. But to her unfortunate situation, Monferno is still going on a rampage, but luckily Paul is sending out his Pokemon to stop Monferno's rampage by sending out Ursaring and Torterra to attempting to stop it, and this does seems to restrain the monkey in a rampage. But luckily Paul doesn't need to injure Monferno any further because the blaze seems to burn up Monferno's stamina, meaning Monferno literally burnt out from its ability, meaning it knocked out. And unfortunately, Paul quickly apologizes for his Pokemon to Maylene, but he quickly heads to the Pokemon Center and making sure Monferno isn't taking any injuries. Luckily, Monferno does seem to be better now because it's actually having a full-on rest. But unfortunately, Paul did not expect for Monferno to be unconscious for the past few days, meaning Paul has no other choice but to leave it to his trusty brother Reggie for taking care of it for now. But once the flashback ends and Paul explains what happened to Reggie, and Reggie simply finished the flashback and seeing Monferno's jaw is sitting in the ground and is unsure how to process what he is capable of entering its blaze ability, and quickly is taken by anxiety. But luckily Reggie knows what the Pokemon is saying, that don't worry Monferno, you didn't cause off to lose the gym battle because your rampage only started when the battle ended, meaning Paul didn't technically lose, he still won the match, but unfortunately it did leave a lasting scar in the gym leader. And Monferno seems to really wear down by those words of Reggie's words. After a day goes by, as Reggie informs his brother that Monferno managed to pull out a full recovery, and as his brother even wants him to send Monferno to him immediately, but Paul simply declined this because his next gym battle is going to be a water gym, and Monferno being a fire type obviously would hinder his team, so he doesn't want to bring Monferno just yet. He just wants Monferno to rest a bit, but once he's done with the gym, he wants Monferno back immediately as soon as possible, and Reggie simply agrees on this and promises that he will take care of Monferno. And with that, it ends with the call before Reggie could catch up with his brother, but it seems like Paul isn't interested in talking for the meantime, and that's Paul firing a whisper to Reggie. Reggie simply is sending out Monferno in the backyard just for the monkey Pokemon to stretch out its leg and have a perfect opportunity to take some needed rest here. And Monferno did thought about it and quickly looks upon a good tree and attempts to simply slip away, waiting for Paul to retrieve him back in his party. After a moment of restfulness, all of a sudden an image of Paul entered in his mind, and imagine the harsher training but Paul might put our Monferno even more, and realizing if Paul can't control Monferno's blaze, meaning it's going to be a big hindrance in his team. Not only that, even though Monferno is able to access Blaze with intense emotional and intense battle, but internally Monferno is unable to control this, meaning Paul, there is a chance once Paul gets frustrated enough, he might just abandon Monferno because he thinks Monferno is incapable of controlling it, meaning it's going to be worthless. And with this very scary reality in Monferno's mind, it quickly goes back up to its feet and continue on its training alone, even if Paul isn't always there with him, meaning Monferno for the rest of the days that he's sitting at Reggie's house is going to double up its training even more, attempting to control the Blaze ability, and not only that, maybe even earn Paul's respect towards Monferno. But that's a very hard thing to see for Paul for saying that to Monferno. For the few days that Monferno has been doing, he's been non-stop training all day and night. Even though Reggie noticed Monferno's recent training, he tried to make sure that Monferno is getting enough sleep and eats well. And Monferno is appreciated by the gesture of Reggie. So Monferno doesn't train that hard, but after realizing training on his own does have some improvements, but unfortunately it isn't faster than having a training sparring partner, which Monferno quick thinks he has an idea for that solution. Paul has more than 6 Pokemon. Not only that, they're all located here at the backyard of Reggie's household, meaning Monferno could probably ask around if the other Pokemon are willing to help Monferno's able to improve upon his training a bit more. After a few hours of looking around, Monferno does notice Rocky Pokemon covered in iron armor. It's pretty much a Lairon. And Lairon hadn't noticed Monferno, but knowing Lairon knows that all the Pokemon in this area is caught by its trainer, meaning they're all owned by the same trainer as well, meaning Paul. Even though Lairon isn't aggressive to Monferno, but unfortunately Paul did raise all of them, meaning that Lairon took Paul's personality, meaning it keeps its distance away with other Pokemon, even if they were caught by the same trainer, meaning that Lairon doesn't have interesting on social reaction. And not to mention, Monferno knows about this, and he took approach on not talking as much with the other Pokemon in Paul's party. But there is something that might interest Lairon, which Monferno opposes, that they might as well train together, being in the same team. And Lairon isn't convinced now, but once Monferno gets his argument across the board, it seems to the Iron Pokemon to be more willing to do the practice sparring. And once these two strong powerhouses clash with their fists or heads. Even though Monferno has never fought this type of Pokemon before, but it doesn't mean he's going to be cockier, because even though he knows that he would have the type advantage, but Monferno is being trained by Paul for the longest time, so it adopts Paul or mind approach, meaning that Monferno is going to take the sparring battle much more cautious than usual. And not to mention finding an opening to weather point for Monferno to take an advantage, and this mindset allows Monferno to have Pokemon ever grand match against Lairon. Unfortunately, this Lairon was raised by Paul, and not only that, Lairon seems to be very talented in close combat. His high defense allows him to survive Monferno's Mach Punches and Flame Wave, even though Monferno's type move should have given him an advantage, but it's clearly that Paul has been training Lairon to resist the fire type being and fighting type very clearly, meaning this will be a very crucial training for Monferno to learn that Paul is not one thing about Paul. He trains every Pokemon that he ever caught and perfecting them to be a much more vicious battlers. The two Pokemon seems to be an even fight. Once the practice battle has done very well for both of them and earning much more experience for Monferno how to approach a much more defensive Pokemon, and for Lairon earning the approach on how to defend and attack on a Pokemon with a huge advantage against it. And because of that, two of these Pokemon clearly have respect one another and might be Monferno's closest thing towards a friend. But when Monferno suggests to hang out a bit more, this immediately turns off Lairon and simply says he's better off being by himself, as he simply is off away somewhere else, leaving Monferno to be alone for a moment. After the next day for Monferno, he's also planning on finding other boss Pokemon so that he could test out his strength. And once he approaches a very familiar Pokemon and he knows this Pokemon is a very strong Pokemon of boss, and looking on seems to be a very strong Gastrodon. Luckily for Monferno, these two actually met before in their travels with Paul, but knowing that Gastrodon is one of Paul's tougher Pokemon, meaning this would be a big opportunity for Monferno to prove upon and how to handle himself with the other water Pokemon. And once he approached Gastrodon immediately knows it's the weak little Chimchar, but clearly something is different about it. But it's unsure how to put a finger on it, but regardless, the Monferno suggests for these two to have a practice battle. This doesn't take as much convincing from the Lairon because Gastrodon is familiar of Monferno here, meaning Gastrodon will take the opportunity to simply test out how far did the little monk come so far. But unfortunately, Monferno, this practice battle is much more harder than Lairon, and noting that Gastrodon is one of Paul's older Pokemon, meaning it's the most experienced on battling. Not to mention, Gastrodon is a much more attuned with Paul's strategy, meaning Monferno is actually facing off a Pokemon as if the Pokemon is thinking like Paul, meaning that Monferno might have a good opportunity to learn about his training style and battle strategy in his head. But unfortunately, focusing on how Paul strategizes and also facing off a very strong Pokemon like Gastrodon is a much more harder feat to overcome, meaning Monferno tried his best, but unfortunately Gastrodon managed to put it down with a powerful water pulse. It took a couple of hours for Monferno to get its strength back after getting some scattered berries from the tree, allowing Monferno to earn his strength back and able to stand on his 2 feet. And note that eventually that the gap between Paul's experienced Pokemon is very high towards his level, meaning Monferno is quickly realizing Pokemon like Torterra and also he has to say Electabuzz, noting that it is going to be a much more harder Pokemon to battle. Meaning Monferno has to keep on training, but doesn't forget about his eating and sleeping habits, allowing for Monferno's mind to rest easy as he approaches towards a next Pokemon. But Monferno is seeing a person that he clearly doesn't want to see. That same Electabuzz that teases him on being with has been appeared in the backyard as Electabuzz simply is hanging by the tree and simply is eating some couple of apples, a bunch of apples by itself, and it clearly is taking a rest. In fact, it doesn't seem like Electabuzz doesn't seem to move around, noting that Monferno really doesn't want to talk to this Pokemon, but unfortunately its drive to get stronger, it overcomes his hatred towards Electabuzz, allowing to willingly attempt to learn from Electabuzz and noting why Electabuzz is such a talented Pokemon. As Monferno simply approaches it, Electabuzz seemingly is a very in a lazy state and doesn't bother to acknowledging the fighting Pokemon here, but it's simply that Electabuzz is simply at a lazy state. But once Monferno attempts to convince electric Pokemon to train with him, this simply is hardly denied by Electabuzz, and Monferno tried its best to get this lazy Pokemon to spar with him, but Electabuzz is simply not having it. It did want to mess with Monferno a bit, but unfortunately doesn't going to waste any time. It's perfect time to take a rest so once a while after the training with Paul. So Electabuzz is simply prefers to lay down and take it easy while Monferno can do whatever it wants and bounce off. Monferno is a bit annoyed from the electric Pokemon. Paul is always praising that Electabuzz might do, but Paul seems to praise Electabuzz's talents, and unfortunately Monferno only has one thing that Paul is interested in, his blaze ability, and will get Paul's approval that Monferno is one of Paul's trusty, most reliable Pokemon, and he wants to be more reliable on that Yeti Pokemon. And Monferno vows this very core and scatters around finding another Pokemon to search and attempt to test its strength. But Monferno is met one Pokemon that isn't sure that it wants to meet again. It's that very Ursaring that it helped Paul to capture, even though Ursaring doesn't seem to be aggressive, but unfortunately Monferno's noticed the bear Pokemon seems to be angered, and it still remembers and still holding a very deep grudge against the fire Pokemon, meaning Ursaring goes on a rampage and attacks Chimchar. And this forces Chimchar to be on a defense a lot, forcing him to defend itself, but this is long. But unfortunately for Monferno, it still was trying to cover the injuries that it previously had in a sparring match with the other two Pokemon that he had, meaning Monferno is facing off an opponent where it's already injured, and not only that, Ursaring seems wants to get even with this Pokemon, so it tries its best to put it down, but unfortunately Monferno's new evolution and the extra J training that it had, it will allow Monferno to have an equal footing against Ursaring. Not only that, even beyond Ursaring, because it tried its best with a powerful slash attack, but unfortunately Monferno uses Ursaring's wet against it, allowing for Monferno to reverse the move and allowing Monferno to land a powerful Mach Punch squarely on the best face. This quickly angers Ursaring to the point where it quickly unleashes a powerful superpower, but unfortunately attempting to use a fighting move against a fighting Pokemon is a very bad thing for Ursaring, as Monferno seems to grapple the fair Pokemon equally until Monferno unleashed a powerful flamethrower towards Ursaring, but unfortunately this causes Ursaring to get angry, and because of it, it quickly attacks Monferno with a powerful slash attack. And clearly Monferno is interested that Ursaring is using its ray towards Monferno, which he quickly is quite amazed by Ursaring's ability, but unfortunately he has to focus on surviving in this, allowing for Monferno to launch a powerful flame wheel, but unfortunately Ursaring managed to grab on Chimchar and uses its claw to forcibly put it to the ground, and once Monferno simply is knocked in daze. But unfortunately Ursaring isn't good enough for this, because it still wants to fight around Monferno, and once the class attempts to swipe around down at Monferno, but it quickly is stopped by a huge claw, and clearly that Reggie is attempting to stop the two Pokemon from fighting as he quickly uses his most powerful Pokemon on his arsenal Drapion, and it stopped Ursaring in its track to attempting to attack Monferno a bit. And that's the last time Monferno sees, as clearly it's too tired to stay awake here, which forces Monferno to be knocked down and closing its eyes here. Reggie simply is talking to his brother Paul, talking about the incidents with his Ursaring, trying to get even with Monferno. Paul simply accepts, and he recalls that he wants Ursaring to his party so he could teach him some lessons in it, and this gladly least Paul is taking this seriously, and Reggie simply returns Ursaring back to Paul and switch out one of his Pokemon in his party. Unlikely once a few days have passed and Reggie is surprised by a certain trainer Ash and his friends. This pretty much happens like anime where Ash gets to learn about Paul. Not only that, Ash has another encounter where he's thinking that he could see Chimchar, but unexpectedly Ash would meet a very different Pokemon in mind as it simply evolved as a powerful Monferno. Seeing Monferno is shadow boxing with its powerful Mach Punch of some kind, or perhaps is trying to learn a new move. But Ash doesn't need to know because it's not his Pokemon, even though he wants to encourage Monferno to keep on trying, but unfortunately he doesn't have authority, and Ash simply wants to talk Monferno on truly what happened. And even though Ash couldn't understand Monferno, Ash has an understanding on the situation. Paul is doing his own special kind of training to encourage Monferno, and it seems to be working. After looking on Monferno, then it simply evolved, and not only that, it seems to getting much stronger. And because seeing Paul seems to be right, and Ash has to accept Paul's training seems to be working, and because of that, this leads for Ash to wanting to get stronger as well. As in the original, that Ash teaches Sparring to learn Brave Word, but after seeing Monferno's growth, Ash will double down on training and not just teaching Bravery, a powerful move, and also wants to teach his other Pokemon moves. Not only that, Reggie's totally managed to teach Ash's Earthquake a Mega Drain. This will greatly improve Earthquake's ability to survive more in the deeps in the battles. But unfortunately, it's unable to master it. But luckily, Ash is much more motivated because of Paul's resilience of Monferno's evolution. Once Ash and Reggie begins on their practice battle, it's a great improvement on Staravia's ability fighting up against its strong evolution counterpart and allowing to able to use Brave Word but not fully master it. But it does have a great result regardless. But Monferno seems to watch over the battle and seems to be entranced on Ash and Reggie's battle, and Reggie is noticed Monferno has been staying off the battle and suggests that Monferno should also have a practice battle with Ash, and Ash is surprised that Monferno has been watching the battle, but unfortunately Monferno is hesitant on wanting to train with Ash because of Paul doesn't think he wants that, but Ash simply encouraged Monferno to give it a try, and this gives in as Monferno is now training with Staravia. And with these two Pokemon having their practice battle, this greatly improves upon their training. Not only that, Monferno seems to finally crack its training and learning a powerful ability power-up punch, and this move will greatly get Monferno able to get stronger and stronger every time it learns that move. And Ash is simply praising Monferno, and this praising is very weird to Monferno, and quickly is liking it, but quickly throws that aside as Monferno doesn't accept the celebration. It just means that Monferno is just improving. When Ash tries to celebrate that, Monferno simply stops it and quickly walks away. And Ash is confused of that, and Reggie simply says that that's just how horse Pokemon act. They don't celebrate, they just simply accept and just move on. And Ash is confused on that part, and this leading that Monferno never really celebrates. Just for the next day for our heroes, Ash and his friend encounter Maylene, and this causes the same way in the anime where Maylene is struggling to accept a challenge and isn't sure how to approach this. This goes pretty similar where Don tries his best to encourage Maylene to battle, but since Maylene has gotten close to Monferno's rate, this makes Maylene even more to decline a battle. This took much more longer for the group to get Maylene to battle, but once she does have a battle with Don, this simply gets her groove back. And not only that, Ash noticed that it leaves a scarring mark on Maylene because Monferno gave a burn mark on Maylene's arm, and this greatly angers Ash because Paul probably think he command Monferno to attack the trainer, but Paul simply correct Ash. Paul didn't. It's Monferno's blaze ability and unable to control it, and Ash simply is disgusted by the regardless, and Paul should have stopped it sooner. And this makes Ash even more too determined to defeat Paul more than ever. Even though the Ash's first battle with Maylene goes much more deadly because Ash doesn't have Chimchar here because he would have chose Chimchar in this battle, but since he doesn't, Ash will simply use his other Pokemon like Earthquake to shine upon more. And because Ash has been with Earthquake a bit much more longer than Chimchar at that point with Ash, and not to mention Turkey has a move Mega Drain to allow Turkey to survive more of the battle, meaning once Blazer battles Lucario, it has a better chance. And not only that, Blazer does put down Lucario and not resulting a double KO, meaning Ash earns the badge here. But once the battle is over and our three heroes makes their way to the next station, and not to forget it is to go back saying goodbye to Reggie and Monferno here. But Reggie simply wants to grab Maylene and simply wants to talk to her privately. Maylene seems to accept this, but once it reveals Monferno has been waiting, Maylene is secretly flinching to block, but Reggie simply stops her because he's in control. And this confuses Maylene. Why is Monferno here? And Monferno simply is putting its head bowed down to Maylene, simply saying how sorry it is how it attacked Maylene and unable to control itself. And this simply is shocked by Maylene. And Reggie is the one to explain how Monferno felt very badly that it hurt Maylene. And once Reggie explains everything, Maylene understands that and simply lets the Pokemon to stab her. It's okay, it's not your fault. Even though I don't agree with your trainer, but I know that Paul will allow you to bring out your full strength and maybe even control it. And because of that, Monferno is simply breathe a sigh and grateful that Maylene simply accept its apology, and this forces Monferno to control Blaze determinedly. For the next day for Monferno, Reggie simply walks to it and simply holds up its Pokeball. Once sealed back, and this means meaning Monferno is going to meet Paul again. It's been a few weeks since the last time they met, but Monferno was determined to surprise its trainer once Monferno is transported to Paul's party, and once Paul simply sends out ready for their next training, and this is shocked by Pop because Monferno seems to be stronger, leaving for to great good because the next training is going to be much more harder than the last time. And that's where we're gonna end the episode. I hope you guys are enjoying this new What If series. Make sure leave a like, subscribe, and leave a notification so you can be notified on the next upload. So keep it humble, keep it peace. Until next